does in a 10K field at the
Yeah, and
Commonwealth
like
Games.
obviously we saw him take out the NCAA cross-country title, and I think for Australians who aren't too sure about that, that is an absolute that is ridiculous to take out an NCAA cross-country title. And I think maybe one to look at is Tobin White. He did win the 3,000 metres, and it's quit triathlon now. He thinks his best run's going to be the marathon, but I'm interested to see what he can do here in this 5,000 metres.
Well, the beauty about him is that he actually doesn't know. He doesn't know what he's capable of. You're speaking to him and he genuinely sort of sits back and says, well, I think I'll be a marathon. Everyone's telling me. He's joined the MTC, Melbourne Track Club group, with Nick Bordeaux as his coach. He's loving doing the training with that elite squad, and he's just really learning what it's like to just be a track and field athlete, just a runner rather than a triathlete. And so he's not sure where he's best suited. He's obviously won the 3K last Saturday night at Sydney, and he's just going to try out a few of the events and see where he settles, I guess.
Short turnaround for a distance run. You would think doing a 3K on Saturday and next Thursday doing a 5.
Yep.
Not normally you would see them probably do races like that, but I suppose when you go to a championships, you're not going to get that much rest.
Well, he's used to doing 3 different events on the one day, you know. So
back to back to back.
He probably thinks that having a few days between is actually a good rest.
And it'll be interesting to see what these athletes go through and what kind of race they're going for. Are they working with Pat to try and get him through what he would be aiming for through his first 5 of the 10? Or are they just going for a nice solid hit out over the 5,000 metres?
Now, had a few people come back to us about Lynn's stats.
Yep.
So it was the 1980 World Champs in Sittard in Netherlands.
Yes,
she finished 7th.
When I was saying it, I thought, I reckon it was before the 80 Olympics, because they didn't have it. They didn't have the women's 3K or the 400 hurdles women's at the 1980 Olympics. So what they did was that they put them, I don't know whether it was to placate them or to sort of say, okay, let's trial it out first and then see if it's world class enough, which clearly, if Lynn Foreman's made the final, it is world class. I think she finished 7th too, from recollection.
Yep.
So it was a trick question. It's a really good trivia question for all those buffs out there looking for a trivia question, because everybody will do what we did as a group and went to 83 World Champs and tried to find out who we thought it would be from the 83 World Champs.
So on the screen now, that's your official results from our long jump. TJ Gale taking that 7.89, Henry Frayne 7.77, Minamora 7.64, your top 3. So not bad jumping in these pretty tough conditions. I know long jump can, it's one of those events where it's just some days no one can get it right. And you may see a qualifying go through, everyone's just under 8, and then someone pops out at 8.30. And it's one of those events where you're just going to find it tough going, and that can get you through to a final at times. So just knowing when to do it and how to put it on the board. And a 7.89 for TJ Gale from Jamaica, I think that's pretty handy with what they were dealing with tonight.
Yeah, no, I'd have to agree with that, because the majority of their jumps were through that heavy rainy period. So it does make it really sort of tough to go out there and try and get a big one out there, because obviously speed on the runway is such a critical thing in the long jump. And obviously if it's raining so hard and you're not able to get up the speed that you usually would, then your run-up's not right, your takeoff's not going to be right, and it sort of just flows on from that.
So we've lost our pacemaker. That was Chevy Black. As we see our pole vaulters go through their warm-ups. That's Louis McAfee out in front, Tobin White, and then back to Tiernan in third. He's still staying with his Villanova coach. So we've seen a few of our athletes go through Villanova. Sam McEntee and also Geordie Williams. Well,
it's a great distance college to go to, and there's still Australians over there learning their craft, and I think that's basically what they do. They go over there as a distance runner, or even as a middle distance runner. You race in Australia, but then what you have to do is a couple of years of learning your trade. We saw Luke Matthews do it in 2016. He ran really well in Australia. Then he basically had to get on the plane and go overseas and learn what it was like to race in those big fields. And sometimes you take a hit. But if you go through the college system, a lot of the times, like you were saying with the NCAAs, they learn to race, and they learn to race away from the. It's not so much. I mean, in America, it's huge, but away from the rest of the world, sort of eyes prying on you the whole time.
And
seeing
you do
your
get
results,
to live the life of an athlete.
Yep.
It's obviously it is amateur, but I don't know if you follow Ben Offerins on Twitter. Some of the races in the NCAAs and a few of the college races, they can get a bit hectic.
Yes.
And there was probably a 40 to 50 team indoor 4x400 metres.
Yep. it's something to behold. So if you haven't seen the video, go and watch it. There's a video of a changeover. It was a 40-team 4x4. And they're all indoors, and they all come running in at the one time. It's absolute carnage, but it would be the most fun event.
How could you tell
Ridiculous.
who you're... I mean, you'd have to know who was going before you, but I wouldn't know who was on my team. Like,
But
it'd be so
I
hard
can barely
to keep...
pick out my outgoing runner when I'm lactic, and
Do
there's
they-
only 8 teams.
Do they wear the same colours?
I don't know if there's time to look.
Do you know what? That does happen in track and field where it is tough with lactic, and you see it so many times in the 4x4 where people just don't spot their runner because you're meant to spot them when you come into the front straight, and they just don't. And that's why there's
Well, that's why you
carnage.
see, sometimes they do spot them, and that's why everyone gets cut
Yeah,
off, because people are just, you got to indicate, put the blinker on, look over, check the blind spot.
Can't imagine how much carnage happened in a 40 by 400.
Oh, it was absolute chaos. You'd want to get out early.
You would. You'd want to have a good lead-out runner. So obviously you'd put your best on the first leg.
Yeah.
And then see how it goes from there.
Now, Patrick looks like he's doing this really comfortably. He kind of almost looks like he's ready to just go straight past them. So I think you might be right, Lynchy. This may be pretty much a race, but a training race. So he might be actually using this as his practice for what's going to happen in Carrara and Gold Coast in a few weeks' time in that 10K. Because you know what's really nice to see after watching so many of Patrick's races is that he's actually getting to sit in.
Yes, he's definitely not having to do all the work.
Well, I mean, if you've followed his career, he is so impressive. He is super impressive. And he's going to be rewarded for how gutsy he is one day because he knows. He does his homework, which you have to, or probably his coach Nick does as well. He knows what the other athletes around him are capable of, and he sets the race plan to suit himself and what's the best way for him to win races. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, like perhaps Gold Coast Commonwealth Games trials happened to him in the last 300 metres where they kicked away the three in front. But, you know, that might be a blessing. Focusing on the one event in the 10K, he can really make sure he's training gears just for that 10K. But it is nice that he's getting to have a bit of a sit-in tonight.
I think he's going to have to... I think he might break away at some point soon because if you've been watching him, he sort of starts to get up the back of Tobin White and then has to cut his stride. It looks like he's a little uncomfortable sitting in there behind him because he's got a bigger stride than what the other two athletes have, especially McAfee that's out the front. They're sort of just running off his short stride at the moment, and it looks like Patrick's sort of just really short at the front there.
You've just got to look at the faces of the three. You know, Lewis is just going to step aside and let them through. He's done his work, which is, you know what, I really love seeing that about the distance fraternity. When another athlete like Patrick needs help, the others have stepped up. You can see that really hurt him, but he's done everything in his capabilities to try and help Patrick to do exactly what he wanted to do tonight. And I love that about the distance fraternity in athletics. That leaves Tobin White in front, and I'm guessing that they're both trying they've both got their own personal goals for tonight's race. Tobin White's obviously really learning about his ability and where he's at and what he's capable of. But you know what? He's got nothing to lose. He's running against a seasoned campaigner in Patrick. He's an Olympian, and he wants to see where he's at and what capabilities he has at the, I can't believe I'm saying this, the shorter track event. So, but Patrick looks so calm. He looks so serene in his face. He's relaxed. His shoulders and his body language say that he's doing this very easily. And like you said, he looks like he's almost going to step on Tobin White's heels every time he's running because he is watching his feet and he knows that he's basically just clipping away those laps and waiting for the time, biding his time for when he's going to turn those legs over and bring those arms into it and kick for home.
But you do have to be careful of that because if he sits too close and he does chop a lot of strides over 5K, that could mean a lot of extra steps to what you're used to going over 5K. So you've got to be careful about it. I know. Obviously, it's easier running behind someone. You're running off their rhythm, all that sort of stuff. But if they are affecting your natural stride too much, it could end up affecting you in the end of the race anyway.
Well, you can see what he's actually doing is he can see where the stride pattern is of Tobin White. So what he's doing is he's going to the side of him, making sure that he doesn't have to chop his stride. He's landing to the side of him at some points when he thinks he is too close. You can just see it so that he's... You know what? he runs with all the Kenyans and the Ethiopians on the world stage who a lot of the times, you know, they're all different shapes and sizes. They have all different stride lengths, and sometimes you are bunched up in that pack, so he knows what it's like. And he would train surging. He would do stuff at training which isn't just the one free-flowing, easier way to run, because he knows what happens in heats of major championships where they can be quite choppy, and the short striding runners, if they're in the front, means that he has to chop his stride. But here you go. He looks like he's just had enough of sitting behind. He's going to open up now and head for home. But look how easily he looks like he's doing it. He's still got a little while to go, but he's you can just see he just wasn't happy with the pace dropping off. He just wanted to see if he could keep it going and do what you just said, open up that leg stride.
I do like. I'm a fan of Patrick's technique and his style. He just looks like he just flows so effortlessly along the ground, and as you're seeing there, he's now starting to open up a gap over Tobin White, and he's doing it with ease at the moment. Absolute ease.
It doesn't even look like he's put in a surge yet.
No.
He's basically just opened up his stride length just a little bit. He hasn't brought his arms into it. He's still completely relaxed. Like, I mean, I can't say it enough. He is a quality athlete, and he is going to be one to watch heading to Tokyo 2020. He is a superb runner, and you can just see now he's starting to open up and really put down those afterburners.
Yep. So we're just under a K to go here in this 5,000 metres. He's in the space of 400 metres, he's opened up, what, 20 metres, 25 metres?
Yep. And Tobin White's having a cracking race. Like, he's not letting him go. He's basically, you can see that, you know, he's being outclassed by Patrick Tiernan, but he's opened up as well, and he has picked up his pace and his tempo also. It's just that, you know, Patrick Tiernan's just that class above.
Yeah, and the difference between the two, it seems like the intensity has gone up in both of them, but the thing is, Tobin White was already at his max stride length, and he's increased the intensity on that, where Tiernan's gone stride length and intensity, and that's where he's really started to pull away from Tobin White there.
Yeah, and I think this would be, he's probably had a chatting, okay, through these Ks. Now this is where I need to start winding it up in the 10,000 metres. This is where moves have been made in the past. He's done Diamond Leagues. I got a chance to watch him at the Prix Classic last year. So that was Mo Farah's last ever race on American soil on the track, and he was turning it on in those kind of races. So this is his chance to really wind it up and, you know, get that experience and change the paces under the belt.
He is not out of place in world-class fields.
No.
And that's, you know, when you're talking distance races, you are talking some of the best of all times that he has raced against. And he took it to Mo Farah. You know, he took the lead, and he wasn't afraid of these guys. And you know, it's not an easy thing to do, to be, you know, confident enough. You don't see it a lot.
And it gains fans.
Yeah.
A lot of people who are just unsure of it.
Fan.
You go to the front, you're like, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love it. Love him now. We're at the front.
But he's doing it because you can see in his eyes, you can see how much it hurt him that he didn't win that 5K at the Commonwealth Games trials. He loves to win. He's got that eye of the tiger, and he knows how to go about it in the race. He puts the blinkers on, and he does what's best for him, and he's just a beautiful mover.
It's like the cycling. So you watch the Tour de France, and when that rider just makes his breakaway from the start, you're like, go.
Yep.
I hope you make it. I hope you last the next 270 Ks at the front.
Yeah.
Do it. Win.
Yeah, you just want to see someone just have that dig and cross the line just to tick over 3 minutes 40 for Tiernan. He was pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
It'd be a good run here for Tobin White. He'll dip under 14 minutes. About 13:52 for Tobin White. He's pretty spent there.
Oh, isn't that a good sign? It is a great sign when you're leading into a major championships, and the camera on Patrick Tiernan, he looks so... he looks like he could blow out 1,000,000 candles. he looks really good. Well, I think Tobin might be pretty happy with that. You know, his first foray back into track, just flat track running. He's had a pretty good week.
Yeah,
you know, Sydney winning the 3K and then
yeah,
coming out and running with Patrick. And good on the guys for stepping up and competing here, because Patrick obviously needed some competition tonight. He needed to have a hit out, and we've seen a few of the Queensland locals jump in and do some pacemaking duties.
And that's the thing with the athletes who aren't in the Commonwealth Games. Obviously, some of them may have stopped after the Commonwealth Games trials, but a lot of these athletes, you've just got to go there.